Reading labels can be tricky, and most people read them wrong, which could have negative impacts on your health. In this video, I'll be spilling the tea on how to read food labels so you can separate the junk from the good stuff. As consumers are becoming more health conscious, some food companies use deceptive tactics to promote highly processed, unhealthy foods. Complicated food labeling doesn't make it easier and makes it even harder for you to actually know what's truly healthy. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty so you can discover what you need to look out for when reading food labels. First of all, don't be fooled by those front of package claims. Ignore that hype on the front of food packaging. Manufacturers often use misleading health claims to actually convince consumers to buy their products. Products that are actually unhealthy. Research shows that this can actually trick consumers just like you into thinking a product is healthier than it actually is. For instance, many sugary cereals boast things like whole grain on the label, however, it's far from nutritious. To make informed choices, always check the food label carefully. Ingredient list. Take a very close look at the ingredient list. I often tell my clients that the ingredient list tell a much better story about what's actually in your food. And I say that because the first thing that people look at is that nutrition facts panel, but really, I want you to start here with the list of ingredients. The ingredient list is a gold mine of product information. Remember, ingredients are listed by quantity from most to least. Focus on the first 3 ingredients because they make up the bulk of the product. Beware of long lists with names and foods that you can't even recognize. These are processed and in most cases, ultra processed foods. All right, so with this one right here, it boasts whole grain on the label. Whole grain is the first ingredient, but guess what the second ingredient is? Sugar. So you want to look for things like whole foods, fruits, vegetables at the top of the list. If you see things like refined grains, added sugar, or unhealthy oils in the first 3 to 5 ingredients, you probably want to leave that product right where you found it on the shelf. Also, a lengthy ingredient list often means that the food is heavily processed. So you want to choose products that have a shorter ingredient list because this means less processing. And you want to keep a close eye out for sugar because sugar actually goes by a lot of different names, over 250 names actually. A lot of them you wouldn't even recognize. Sugar is lurking in a lot of foods that you wouldn't even suspect. Diet foods, condiments like ketchup, even tartar sauce. Look, I love to have some tartar sauce whenever I eat fish, but when I just pulled this one out of my cabinet, what do I see here? Sugar. Look, I'm learning something right now just like you guys are as well. It's even in things like crackers, salad dressings, and this is why I always like to encourage people to make salad dressings at home. Not only is it really easy to do, salad dressings are often a very, very sneaky source of added sugar. Pasta sauces is another one. To improve your health, it's important to spot these disguised sugars on food labels. Here's the thing. Food manufacturers often use many different names for sugar in order to disguise it in products. This clever tactic allows them to bury sugar farther on down on the list, even though it's still a main component in the product. Now, I want you to keep a close eye out for high fructose corn syrup. Oh, don't even get me started on this one. Since it's extremely cheap, food companies love to use it in place of regular sugar. High fructose corn syrup is extremely processed, and it accounts for 40% of added caloric sweeteners to foods and beverages today. Serving sizes. You also want to watch out for serving sizes. This one is really, really important. The serving size listed on a food label, it isn't just a random number. It's the foundation for all the nutritional information that follows. Misjudging the serving size can lead to increased caloric intake and overeating. Okay, so here is the issue, the pet peeve that I have with serving sizes. They can often be very misleading, not to mention unrealistic. They don't actually reflect real life consumption. So a serving size might be as small as like half a cookie or maybe even like a quarter of a candy bar. I don't know about you, but I'm not ripping open a candy bar only to eat a quarter of it. I'm eating the whole entire thing. I am going in. You let me know in the comments, who is eating a quarter of a candy bar? Come on now. Manufacturers often use these tiny Barbie-sized serving sizes to make food seem healthier than they actually are. A lot of people make the mistake thinking that the serving size is actually like one serving or the entire package size. This leads to unintended overeating and overconsumption. Here's a quick tip. To accurately calculate the nutritional value of what you eat, multiply the serving size information by the amount of servings that you actually consume. Calories, calories, calories. This is the next one we need to look out for. We are obsessed with calorie counts, but what do they actually mean? Calories measure the energy in food essential for balancing your diet as well as your lifestyle. However, all calories are not created equal. I could do a whole other video on calories, and I learned so much about this during my 30-pound weight loss. So if you want me to create a video talking about my weight loss journey, how I looked at calories, how I calculated calories, and why I think about calories in a completely different way that helped me to keep off the weight for 10 years, leave a comment below and I'll record that video for you. So you really want to focus on nutrient-dense foods that offer more calorie bang for your buck and that fuel your body optimally. You want to aim for high fiber and nutrient-dense foods, and you also want to minimize your intake of saturated fat, trans fats, and added sugar. The daily value percentage. Okay, this is another tricky area on the food label. So the percentage daily value helps you to see if there's a little or a lot of a certain nutrient in food. So 5% daily value or less is a little, and 15% daily value or more is a lot. So this applies to protein, vitamins, minerals, etc. So the nutrients that you want to get less of are saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. The nutrients you want to get more of are fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. Okay, so for example, I just whipped this out of my cupboard. Wasn't planning on doing this in the video, but hey, here we are. I really want to help you guys read these labels. This is my protein powder that I consume each and every day. So when I look at the nutrition facts label here, right, I'm looking at fiber, for example. So if this has 5 grams of fiber, so that's 18% of my daily value. So again, anything that's 15% or more is great, okay? Especially when it comes to important nutrients like fiber. So this just actually made me like this protein powder a little bit more. Okay, so I've saved the best for last. So let's talk about some of the misleading claims that you'll see on food packaging. Again, food packaging is often adorned with many different claims to entice you to buy the product. So let's break down some of the most common label tricks. Light or low fat. Look, these products might be lower in calories as well as fat, but to make up for that, they add in more sugar. Look, so for those of you who've been following me for a while, you might have heard about my 30-pound weight loss. I actually talk all about it in my book, Unbreakable, where I share the 7 habits that I use to lose 30 pounds and keep it off for 10 years. Now, when I was on that weight loss journey, I turned to a lot of low-fat products. While I was on my weight loss journey, I actually started to pay closer attention to the food labels, and I actually started to dive in a lot more into the research about weight loss and what was working, what wasn't working. And what I found was really startling when it came to these low-fat products. I would eat a lot of these like 100-calorie snack packs. I might be dating myself. I don't know if you guys remember that. But I was eating a lot of those products thinking I was doing something good for myself, but not realizing how much added sugar was in those products. So if you're trying to lose weight right now, I really want to highly encourage you to stop eating these low-fat, low-calorie products. Multigrain. This just means that the product contains 1 or more grains, not necessarily healthy grains or whole grains. Natural. This term is loosely regulated and doesn't mean that a product is actually healthy. Organic. Yes, while some of these foods may be grown without pesticides, they can still be high in sugar, so keep an eye out for that. No added sugar. This doesn't necessarily mean that a product is sugar-free. It might be naturally high in sugar or contain a sugar substitute. Low carb. Beware of low carb options because they typically replace carbs with unhealthy fats. Fortified or enriched. Yes, they may have added nutrients, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that product is healthy. Gluten-free. This doesn't necessarily mean healthy. Do not get me started on this one. Many gluten-free products are highly processed. Fruit flavored. Don't assume that a product has real whole fruit in it just because it's fruit flavored. Zero trans fats. This doesn't guarantee the absence of trans fats because again, food labels and serving sizes can be very misleading. So understanding food labels is a lot more than number crunching. So I really want to encourage you to think beyond that. Understanding food labels is a powerful tool for unlocking a healthier lifestyle. By making informed choices and reducing your reliance on processed foods, you can significantly improve your well-being. Simple steps like opting for products with shorter ingredient lists, recognizable ingredients, and less added sugar can make a big difference. Ultimately, food labels are a starting point for healthier eating. Let me know in the comments which one of these tips you'll use to become more of a label detective. And make sure to check out the next video to continue building those healthy eating habits.